They say gates are meant to keep things out. But in my case, the real problem lived next door and had a key to entitlement and a bolt cutter to match. I moved to Lakeview Estates for peace. The trees, the stillness, the kind of neighborhood where wind chimes sounded like music instead of warnings. I bought a property on the corner of the cul-de-sac, surrounded by woods on two sides and protected by a custom steel security gate I'd install myself. Simple, clean, quiet, until Karen moved in. Not just any Karen. Marilyn Carrington, HOA Vice President, local busybody, professional trespasser, and part-time Facebook sleuth. She wore oversized sunglasses like a uniform and carried around a tablet everywhere like she was CIA. The day she introduced herself, she didn't say hello. She said, "I noticed your gate isn't in the community's aesthetic guidelines." I smiled. That's because my lot was grandfathered in. It's not part of the HOA. Her nose wrinkled. "So you're independent?" You could say that. That didn't sit well with her. Over the next few weeks, she made it her mission to reintegrate me into her idea of how things should be. First came the flyers slipped under my door. "We can help beautify your fence." Then the warnings posted on my mailbox. "Unregistered vehicle parked in driveway." It was my lawnmower. Then came the meetings I was invited to, where they casually suggested I remove my gate for better community flow. I declined, politely, every time, and every time her smile got tighter. Then came Tuesday. I just returned from a 2-day trip to visit my sister upstate. My truck crunched into the gravel as I pulled into the driveway, only to notice something was off. My gate lock was gone. Not just open. Gone. I got out slowly, heart thudding. The chain that once held my custom lock hung loose like a snapped tendon. My private property sign had been taken down, and something new had appeared. A laminated note zip-tied to the gate. "For the safety of the community, this entrance has been adjusted to reflect HOA standards. Please keep gates unlocked during daylight hours. HOA Vice President, Marilyn C." My blood went cold. She didn't just trespass. She cut through a lock that triggered a silent alarm system, installed by me, not just because I'm cautious, but because before this house, I was a security systems architect for a private defense contractor. I designed smart perimeters for embassies. My front gate wasn't decorative, it was calibrated, which meant one thing. The second she cut that lock, the police were already on their way. I stepped inside and pulled up the feed on my wall panel. There she was, time-stamped, 12:47 p.m., broad daylight, wearing white slacks, a floral blouse, and holding bolt cutters in one hand while swiping hair from her face with the other. She bent down, clipped the chain, and actually smiled at the camera. No mask, no hesitation, like it was her yard. She looked around, pulled the sign off my fence, and replaced it with hers like a villain marking territory. And then the lights showed up. Red and blue flooded my driveway. I met the officer at the gate, already holding the footage on a tablet. "She cut the lock?" he asked, incredulous. "And removed my signage." He shook his head. "I'll be back," he said. "I have a feeling I know exactly where she is." 10 minutes later, I got the call. Karen was in her driveway, flanked by two HOA board members, giving what could only be described as a victory tour. She had laid out pamphlets, pointed to my property like a blueprint, and was mid-sentence when the officer pulled up. He didn't even need to ask. Karen immediately launched into a monologue. I was doing what's best for the neighborhood. That gate is an eyesore and a barrier to safety. Ma'am, did you enter his property? It's all part of the community. He is not in the HOA. He should be. That's not how law works. She was issued a citation for trespassing, destruction of private property, and unauthorized tampering with a security device. She nearly dropped her clipboard. I watched from my camera feed as she stammered. But I was helping. The officer pointed out that cutting a lock could be interpreted as intent to break and enter, especially if the homeowner was out of town. But I'm the vice president. Ma'am, this is a neighborhood, not a monarchy. That evening, I did something rare. I printed a still image from my security cam. Karen's face mid-snip, eyes lit with self-importance, and taped it inside the gate with a caption. Notice, tampering with this property will result in immediate police dispatch. See Exhibit A. It became a neighborhood legend. But Karen wasn't done. She tried to rally the board to vote on mandatory access compliance. She argued that homes with locked perimeters fostered mistrust and interfered with community visibility. The motion didn't pass, not only because I showed up to the meeting with the officer who issued the citation, but because by then, four other neighbors had installed their own gates. With smart locks, the ripple effect was beautiful. Karen resigned from her vice president role 2 months later, citing health reasons and uncooperative residents. And me? I still have the gate. Still locked. Still calibrated. Still mine. I added a feature, too. A recorded voice that plays when someone gets too close. You're now on private property. Smile for the camera. It's polite, firm, and surprisingly effective. Because if I've learned anything, it's this. Sometimes the best security system is a Karen-proof boundary.